Hey, I'm Lizzie. I'm 26 years old and I just got married to the love of my life. But before I could get married, my sister tried to sabotage my relationship and insult me. But it backfired in the best way possible. Let me begin by telling you a little about my family. I'm the youngest of the family and I have one older sister, Dawn. Dawn was the first child, and my family, parents and extended family, pampered her senselessly when she was a child. As a result, she got dependent on all the attention and praise of my parents and the rest of my family. When I came around, Dawn struggled to grasp the fact that she was not the only child of the family. She would throw these insane tantrums that would eventually lead to everyone paying attention to her and neglecting me. It used to hurt at first, but eventually I learned to live with it. Nothing was really ever my own. Everything I had or did, Dawn also needed to have. Even my birthday parties were not mine. Dawn had to be celebrated for something at least. After enduring all of that for years, I practically ran out of the house when I was 18. Dawn continued to live with my parents and never got a job. They supported her and even postponed their retirement so she could continue living with them. I didn't say anything to them or her because I didn't want to be involved with them any more than I needed to be. In my second year of university, I met my now husband, Leo. Leo and I clicked immediately and we began dating shortly after. He was everything that I was looking for in a partner, and it also helped that he only gave me attention. After dating for a year, I decided to introduce him to my parents. I made sure that Dawn wasn't around because I didn't want her to create a scene. My parents loved him, and that was that. Dawn found out that I was dating someone eventually, and she threw a fit about it. In turn, my parents told me to never bring Leo around whenever she was around because she'd throw another fit. I was more than happy to oblige. So for the next 4 years, Leo and Dawn never met each other. After graduating, Leo and I moved in together and we focused on our careers. Leo got placed into a very good company and he worked really hard to secure himself a better position. He was one of the company's best assets, and he knew that if he played his cards right, he'd be able to get a high position. One of the many things he had to do to make sure he got the high position was traveling. Leo traveled a lot for work. His company not only had offices in many countries, but they also regularly held business meetings abroad to get new clientele. Leo was frequently out of the country around 2 weeks a month. Things were beginning to get hard for us because while I was understanding of what he was trying to do for his career, it still sucked because he was gone for half of the month, and so we barely spent time together. One particular time, Leo took me out to dinner after he told me that he would be going on another business trip. He did it as an apology because he really did feel bad, and I did not have it in me to take out my frustration on him. So while at dinner I asked him with resignation if he really had to go. "Do you have to go on this business trip?" "Unfortunately, yes. If I go on this trip, I'll get a promotion that will set us up for life." "I know, but you've been traveling a lot these past few months and I just miss you." "I know. These past few months have been rough on me too. But once I get this promotion, I promise I'll be yours always. In fact, I actually do have something to ask you." "Yes? What is it?" "You know that I'm working hard for a better future right now, but I want you to know that I'm working for a better future for us. I want to spend the rest of my life with you, and I want to do it in absolute bliss. So if there's one question that I want to ask you, it's this: will you marry me?" "Oh my God, Leo, really?" I meant every word I said. "Of course I'll marry you, yes. I'm so lucky to have you by my side and I can't wait to spend the rest of my days with you." "Ah, I'm so happy. I was such a nervous wreck." "Why? I would never have said no." "I know, but I just wanted things to be perfect." "Well, it was. Good job, honey." "Thank you, sweetie." There is one thing that I want to ask you too. Do you mind me telling my parents about our engagement while you're away on your business trip?" "Why?" Well, my sister lives with them and she's practically going to throw a fit. I want to do things as gently as possible. Your sister is a menace. You shouldn't have to be tiptoeing around her because she's emotionally fragile. I agree with you. I just don't want this happy news to be tainted by a tantrum. I want at least some attention from my parents. Of course, hon. But when I get back, we're going to throw a proper party for our engagement. Of course. I was floating on cloud 9 for the rest of the dinner. I could not believe that Leo had finally asked me to marry him. And more importantly, I couldn't wait to spend the rest of my life with him. We enjoyed the rest of the time that he was there with me before he left for his trip by going to a resort and just relaxing. A day after he left, I decided to call my parents over to announce my engagement to Leo. I didn't invite Dawn because I figured if she took the news of Leo and I dating, well, after she heard it from someone else, she'd be the same way with the engagement. But my parents insisted on her coming along. I briefly considered just not telling them about the engagement then. But then I thought about how unfair it was. I was always planning my entire life around Dawn and her emotions. There was only so long that I could keep justifying things to myself by saying that I was just trying to avoid drama. So I decided to just announce it to all three of them. When they came over, Dawn made a remark about how lucky I was to have a boyfriend who was willing to pay my bills. I let the remark slide because I needed her in a good mood. My parents asked me where Leo was, and I told them that he was away on a business trip. Dawn snickered at that, and once again I let it go. I waited until dinner was done to tell the three of them that I had something to announce. I brought out a cake to celebrate it too. Dawn did not like that. She cussed at me before running away. What happened? Why did Dawn run off like that? Are you serious? Yes, I've no idea what's going on. You know how Dawn feels about the fact that she's still single. And what does that have to do with me? You just made a big show about your engagement. You made her feel so bad. I'm sorry she felt that way, but I'm supposed to never celebrate or announce any major milestone in my life because of Dawn's feelings? We're not saying that. All we're asking you to do is be more considerate in the way that you celebrate these milestones. I do not see the point to that. If Dawn feels so bad, she can come talk to me herself. I'm here, and fine, let's talk. Why do you always make everything about you? I can't ever have one night of celebration to myself. Do you always only celebrate things that you know I'm sensitive about? I could say that you purposely did that to hurt me. Dawn, I literally only celebrate big life events. You're telling me that I wasn't supposed to celebrate my graduation just because you dropped out of college? Next thing you know, you'll hate me for throwing a baby shower because you didn't get pregnant before me. It's ridiculous. You need help. Are you calling me crazy? No, I just want you to figure out how to deal with your own emotions without projecting them onto others. It'll make everyone's lives easier. Dawn does not make our lives harder. Stop kicking her while she's already down. No. You know what? It's okay. If she wants to play this way, I'm going to make her regret it. You better watch your back, Lizzie. I didn't see when Dawn came back into the room, but when I finally saw her face, I lost my head. All the years of pent-up anger that I didn't even know I had in me spilled out. I finally spoke about what had been going on in my mind, and of course Dawn did not take that well. She threatened me, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel scared of her at all. My parents, like they always did, ran after Dawn. I felt free. Nothing felt better than finally standing up for myself. On so many occasions Leo had asked me to do that, but I never did it out of fear of Dawn. But when I told him about what I had done later on that night when we got on call, he was very proud of me. My parents never reached out to me about anything after I announced my engagement to them. I never reached out to them either because I figured that they took Dawn's side and that was how things always were, so I didn't care enough. However, about a week after I made the announcement, Dawn showed up at my door with a bunch of my family and friends behind her. Whoa, Dawn, what are you doing here? Hi, I brought Mom and Dad and a few friends along too. Okay, come on in, guys. Excuse the mess. So, Lizzie, How is the engagement going? Is it going well? What's going on? Remember how you humiliated me the day that you told Mom, Dad, and me that you were engaged? I didn't humiliate you. I just stood up for myself and told you to stop making your issues everybody's. Right, so you humiliated me. I'm confused. Is this supposed to be a way to get me to apologize, or do you just want an audience for when you make me apologize? Either way, I'm not apologizing for anything. I don't want your stupid apology. No, today I brought everyone here to expose your relationship. What? Yeah, that's right. The day that you announced that you're engaged, I couldn't help but feel like something was off. I mean, I never met your fiancé, and you never made the effort to let anyone see him. That's not true. Everyone here met him except you, because you would have hated the fact that I'm in a relationship and you're not. What? Anyway, it doesn't matter, because look at this picture. That's right, everyone. That's me with her fiancé. He's a liar and a cheater, and he cheated on you, Lizzie, because you are the ugly duckling of the family. He took one look at me and he knew he could do so much better than you. Why are you laughing? I can't help it. That's not my fiancé. Oh, don't try to brush it off and pretend it isn't him just because you don't want to be humiliated in front of everyone. I'm not doing that at all. That's my fiancé's twin brother. That's right, he has an identical twin, Jasper. And you know why my fiancé has never kept in touch with Jasper? Because Jasper is a criminal who is on parole right now. Looking at it, though, he probably tricked his parole officer just so he could spend the night with you. What? Don't lie to me. Why do I have any reason to lie to you? You tried to humiliate me, and it's just backfired in the best way possible. Maybe next time you'll think before you do something so stupid. Now, everyone's welcome to stay if they like, but Dawn, you need to leave. I couldn't help but laugh. I mean, I knew that I was supposed to be appalled, but I really couldn't believe how far Dawn would go just to be the center of attention and get the validation she so desperately craved. Hell, I couldn't believe that she even managed to get a hold of Leo's brother, Jasper. Jasper was convicted of robbing a bank and assaulting multiple police officers. Leo and his entire family disowned him, and it had been years since any of them spoke to or even heard from him. So for Dawn to get hold of him was truly a feat. But I spent the rest of the evening with my friends and family, all of whom couldn't stop looking at Dawn in disgust. Dawn eventually left when she saw that no one was giving her the attention she wanted. My parents didn't run after her for the first time, and that definitely made me raise an eyebrow. They didn't talk to me either, but I let it go. Leo got back the next day, and when I told him about what happened, he was angry at first that Dawn would do something so senseless and possibly jeopardize our safety. But I assured him that Jasper never came over to our place, and Leo eventually loosened up and laughed at the incident. A few days later, my parents called me and asked if Leo and I were free to grab dinner with them that evening. I was surprised that they would even ask, but told them that I wouldn't be coming if Dawn was there. They assured me she wasn't, so Leo and I went. My parents looked nervous when we saw them, so my curiosity only rose more. Hi, Lizzie. Hi, Leo. How are you both doing? We're doing good. How are things at home? Yeah, I heard that quite a debacle happened. I hope Dawn's okay. Well, she'll live. Oh? How come you're not yelling at me for humiliating her? Look, we called both of you here because we wanted to apologize for Dawn's behavior. We had no idea about what she was up to. She just told us to come along with her, and before we knew it, we were at your place and she was creating a ruckus. You mean she was trying to insult me, my partner, and our relationship? Yes, we're really sorry that she did that. You know what? I'm actually surprised that the two of you even made the effort to apologize. And we're also sorry that we've been treating you in a manner that makes us apologize for a surprise. It's just that what you said when you announced your engagement, you know, about us not celebrating your graduation because of Dawn, really stuck with us. We didn't realize just how much we were neglecting your feelings. We always thought that you were so much more emotionally mature than Dawn, but now we realize that maybe we forced you to be that way. And that was cruel of us. Seeing Dawn try to purposely be with your partner and call you the ugly duckling while expecting everyone around her to applaud her made us horrified. We didn't realize just how much we messed up until then. We want you to know that we've decided to ask Dawn to move out. She needs to fend for herself in the real world. We kept her sheltered and pampered for so long that she has no sense of what was right and wrong. We're limiting communication with her too. Whoa, I fully appreciate both of you taking the efforts to introspect and apologize for your wrongs, but I don't think that cutting Dawn off is a healthy alternative. We know, but we're not fully cutting her off. We just want her to be independent and learn to deal with things without our help. She needs to learn to regulate her emotions, and staying with us is not how she'll learn. We want to make it up to you, and I know that money doesn't make up for our years of neglect, but please allow us to cover some costs at the wedding. Oh, you don't need to do that. Please, we insist. We want to make things right again. I promise you, Lizzie, that we're going to keep making an effort to make up for what we did before. All right, then. I will admit that it will be weird to have both of you treat me normally, but I'll also do my best to not let the past affect how I treat you from now on. It took every ounce of self-control to not let my jaw actually drop when I heard my parents apologize. I didn't think this day would ever come. I was prepared to live the rest of my life in Dawn's shadow, but to see them actually work towards building our relationship was a breath of fresh air. My parents kept to their word and told Dawn about her deadline to get a job and move out. Dawn did not take that well and threw a fit, obviously. When she saw that my parents weren't budging, she called me to blame me for the way that her life was turning out. "Did you really have to humiliate me that way?" "What are you talking about?" "You made up lies just so you wouldn't be embarrassed that I exposed your fiancé to be a cheater. No, you're embarrassed because your plan failed. You think you did something earth-shattering, but really you just made yourself look like a bad person." "What are you talking about?" "Even if your plan worked and Leo was a cheater, you do realize that you went out of your way to be with someone who was taken. So? You'd be embarrassed, and that's all that matters. But now, no one is talking to me, and it's all your fault." "No one's talking to you because you show them all that you would go to any lengths to get your way, even if that means seducing your sister's fiancé. You fed them all these thoughts. Nobody ever treated me this way before." "Dawn, I hate to break this to you, but you've been treated like a princess all your life. Everybody cares so much about what you think, and that's why they walked on eggshells around you. You had to get your way, or else you'd throw a tantrum, and while that behavior was cute when you were a child, when you're a 30-year-old woman, it's upsetting. Who are you to tell me what's right and wrong?" "I was the one that bore the brunt of your emotional instability. I never got to celebrate or be happy about anything in my life unless you got the same thing or you had something better. This is literally the smallest of inconveniences that you're lashing out this bad. If you truly care about your family and your reputation, you should reach out to everyone instead of harassing me." "Why should I do it when you are the one that ruined my life?" "Okay, clearly you're not even listening to me, so I'm just going to go. I have nothing more to say to you. Bye." It was genuinely astounding that Dawn still saw nothing wrong with the way she acted. The very fact that she would rather blame me than look at what she did wrong told me enough about how she was never going to change. And there was no surprise when I found out that she was struggling even more after she left my parents' house. Dawn decided not to get a job after she had to move out. She decided to couch surf with various other family members and friends, but pretty soon all of them got tired of her mooching off of them. She still somehow managed to find people to keep helping her. I don't know what sob stories she was telling them, because periodically I would get hateful messages about how I was a horrible sister for manipulating my parents into kicking her out. I never entertained those messages, of course. I didn't see any more reason to expose Dawn for what she had done to me, because eventually the same people who texted me all of that would find out what a nightmare Dawn was to deal with. Dawn even went as far as to come back to my parents and tell them to take her back in because she knew that they felt horrible, and so she was going to forgive them and would give them a second chance. My parents laughed in her face and told her to get a grip on reality and to go get a job. My parents would defend me against family members who tried to slander my name, and I was grateful for that. Speaking of my parents, they really came through and took up a majority of Leo and I's wedding expenses. They went above and beyond to make up for their years of neglect. At the same time, they were understanding enough to not expect me to treat them like they were the best. I will say that I have begun to slowly warm up to them again because they really have been trying. Our relationship is slowly getting better, and I'm finally beginning to understand why my sister loved the spotlight. Don't worry, I won't ever come close to ever becoming like her. As for my wedding, it was an absolute blast. I uninvited Dawn, but I was a little paranoid that she would show up to the wedding, so I hired security and warned them to not let her in at all. It's a good thing that I did that because she did try to crash the wedding, and the security guards managed to get her away from the venue. My wedding was still an absolute blast, and it's been one of the best days of my life. Things are looking up finally, and I can't wait to see where my life goes from here on. Leo and I are finally going on our honeymoon tomorrow, and I'm so excited. If I have the time to, I'll update you. And even if I don't, just know that things are going great. Thanks for listening.